But yeah, that's good. So in the mail, finally got my new TDMI coilovers. So I'm just gonna unbox them and maybe we'll slap them on the car. Got these are the new two-way adjustable coils. It's adjust stickers and wrenches. And then we got the coilovers, and I did the switch spring upgrade. Looking pretty sweet. I have the remote mount reservoirs, so we'll get them set up and I'll get those locked into place. That's pretty sweet. There you go. Nice. Let's see the front ones. These ones have the camera plates on the top. The mounts all nice. Swift springs on the front as well. 10K on all four corners. That's what I've been running regularly. So I like the way that my regular ones are, so we'll see how these do. Nice plate. Can't wait to slap them on the car. So with them, they have the really nice bearings on the top, nice top hats, really good hardware everywhere. These remote mount reservoirs are pretty sick. I'm excited to see how they feel on the car. So yeah, that's all that came in the box. So let's see how they go in. Alright, so here's currently how she sits. So, sits pretty good. I think the ground is a little angled on the back, so it looks low, or looks like it's higher in the rear. It actually sits about the same as the front. So, go ahead, get those slapped in. And, hopefully, see all those smooth. Had the ones on here for probably about 5 years. They've been really good, but it's time for something a little more crazy, a little more serious, and hopefully the extra adjustment in the front with the camber helps with the, I have sort of an inner backspacing issue with my wheel. I'm hoping that if I can kind of tilt the strut in and get the camber that way, that I can kind of help, but we'll see how that does. And then just having the extra dampening and compression control, I like to really be able to dial it in. The car is currently sitting with, on the rear I have all the TDMI bushings, and then I have the sphericals, and then I have a Nismo rear sway bar. And yeah, so the rear is pretty planted, feels really good. Everything's been refreshed on the front. I have the ALK spacer, the 15 mil. I have the caster adding Super Pro bushings and redid all the bushings up front. And have a still-in sway bar, so a pretty aggressive big sway bar on the front. Front feels good. I have the Ultra Racing trunk brace the room bar and the strut tower bar. They just kind of, you know, stiffen it up a little bit. There's nothing super crazy going on in the inside. Mostly just the lighter chassis mods, but thus far with sticky tires it handles pretty good. So let's get to it. Alright, so we're at the car. We're already digging in, and just gonna spray some lube on there, and then we'll get it undone, get it out of the way, and then we'll put the new one on. So we got it laying out right there. Get it fitted up. So let's get to it. I'm excited to see how they act. I put the rear on. Took it for a quick shakedown. Didn't really notice much difference from my other TDMIs, but I wasn't really pushing them quite hard, and I think that's where these will shine. Rode real smooth, same as the other TDMIs, and I've had these other ones on here for about 5 years. So they've got some mileage on them, they've got some age, and they're still doing great. So I'm real excited to have the new ones. So let's go ahead and get it put in. Alright, so we got it on. We didn't run into really any issues. I was just sitting there adjusting the camber. We set it to about the 7th notch in, which is just enough to clear still the inner hole. So if you'd like to do more, you'd have to kind of clearance that. And now we got it so that we can turn it and adjust it, and I have this set in a position that it full lock. It's not going to run into the brake line mount there. All that's left next is to test fit the wheel and tire, and then do the other side. Other than that, it's looking pretty good. I got to set the coil into place. So go ahead and get that set. Get them locked in place, and yeah, we'll continue on and see how these do. They look good, so the rear's still pretty good. Now we gotta see. When I was originally setting height, these ones basically at the lowest setting other than where that bottom line right here, that's all the way to the bottom of the adjustment panel. So if I were to try and go any lower, which I don't really think I'll need to, because this was only about a 1/4 inch higher than where I was before, and I wanted to raise the car a little bit anyway. So once I get them on, get them filled out, and adjust the ride height after I kind of fill it out, I'm just ballparking them, getting them pretty close to where they were on the other coils, because it rode really good with that, but I did want to raise the car about 1/8, 1/4 of an inch, just ever so slightly. So let's go ahead, test fit the wheel, get it back on, and jump to the other side. Here we are, second side of the car. I'm gonna go ahead, get the tire off the ground. There we go. Tire off the ground. Get the tire off the car. Go. hit that up. These have all been pretty easy to change. I'm just putting some penetrant oil on these bottom ones. Top ones are titanium, so they don't really rust. They're also from TDMI, so they're pretty good. I like them. I think that they're a good product. And, well, it's titanium, so what's not to like? There we go. Interesting. That one was snug. Oh, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's pop the ABS line loose. Tuck that out of the way for a second. Brake line clip loose. There we go. This is more nice. Go ahead and zip tie the ABS out of the way. Now we're just going to take it out and repeat what we did on the other side.
I really wanted to get it right, trying to find some balance in my life. I never really put up a fight, and now I'm losing sleep. What if I lost touch? What if I'll never get it right? I try to follow my heart,
so
but I lost it somehow.
we ended up getting it all together. And as you can see, or not, in there. Did our final tightening. Got the brake line there. The ABS line I just zip tied to the brake line because there is no specific mounts for it. Maybe later I'll make something that kind of clamps underneath the actual bolts that just has the little thing. It'd be simple to make. But yeah, they look good. Just got to test fit this last wheel, and then all the car is on them. We'll lower it, see how it looks, see how it sits, and maybe we'll go for a little drive, see how they feel tonight. Not quite sure. It's getting a little bit dark here, so we will see. But yeah, let's go and put the wheel back on. Hopefully I eyeballed my camber good enough. Mistake for a second. I had the reservoir was a little too close, but we were able to get that out of the way. So a too tight on the coil, so let's go ahead and undo that. Oh yeah, that's good. Even better on the driver's side. Let's see. So this one I actually have quite a bit of camber on still. So because I set it up at the top and not at the bottom, they're both set at 7 lines. I matched them up, the 7th line to the 1 hole, which allows the thing to sit just barely offset, which is pretty good. I'll have to get it on an alignment rack and check out and see what the camber is. This side, I set it a little more to the positive on the lower adjustment, and so it's a little more vertical, feels in the fender. Maybe I'll jack it back up and pull this one out and try and get it to mimic the other side, because that one seems to be more square. Maybe it's a little more positive. Yeah, they're probably both really out of whack. Maybe this one's even cambered out, or positive camber up top, like maybe just a smidge, but it does look pretty straight up and down. Hard to tell, just judging it off of the body. Yeah, but it tucks under the fender really nice, and there's a lot of gap between the strut tower, or like the actual strut and spring, and the reservoir, because it's like that, where the other one, it seems like it's a little tighter. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and match this side to the other side. It might put me in a weird positive-ish camber, but to the naked eye it looks more just neutral. So let's go ahead and get that done. Alright, so we got it. Straighten this one back out a bit. Get on the rack, confirm it, but eyeballed good enough for now. Car sits a smidge higher. Probably relax when we drive it. That one was sitting quite a bit higher at first when we did the rear last night, so expect a little bit of settle. About the same. So that's the TDMI race spec, or not exactly sure what he's calling these ones. The remote mount reservoir TDMI coilovers. They fit well. They were pretty easy install. You just have to watch out for a few things, a little more than just your standard coilover. You have to make sure your reservoirs aren't going to hit or contact anything. Figured that out, make sure that everything is, I have it in a spot that I believe is, you know, not in any danger while the suspension is traveling up and down. Yeah, fit and finish with the Swift Springs. The Swift Springs look freaking rad. They're gonna ride super good, so I'm excited to see how they feel and how hard I can press these on the corners. And yeah, hopefully soon I'll be doing a track day with the car just to get a feel for it. Never taken it to the track before. I've been wanting to, been dying to. So yeah, that's it for this one. We're just gonna do the coilovers, and yeah, catch you next time.